In the next edition of It's About Money, my guest will be Karen Rondo. She's the Director of Counseling Operations at Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Rochester. And very good time for us to talk about good financial health here in Rochester. Join us in the next edition of It's About Money. Hello and welcome to another edition of It's About Money. I'm Nanette Nocan and thank you for joining us. Our guest today is Karen Rondo. She's the Director of Counseling Operations at Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Rochester. Join me in welcoming our guest. Thank you, Karen, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to have you talk about and focus on helping clients achieve financial peace of mind here. And let's talk about financial wellness and how the services of consumer credit counseling can be of help to our clients, people in Rochester in achieving the status of good financial health. So tell us a little bit about what CCCS of Rochester and the mission of the organization.
Sure. So Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Rochester is a community-based nonprofit organization, and our focus is financial education and wellness to individuals and families by providing them with certified credit counselors who works with our families and individuals on their financial goals and helping them achieve those goals by individual one-on-one counseling sessions.
Got it. So just make sure that they're not overextending themselves and using credit wisely,
yes,
that kind of thing. Great, that's wonderful. So tell us about the debt management program.
Mm-hmm. So our debt management plan or debt repayment plan, it's where we work with our clients who may be struggling with their credit cards. Maybe they see their interest rates are increasing and impacting their monthly payment, making it unaffordable or very difficult to make those monthly payments. We counsel individuals with that type of situation. We'll take a look at their credit cards, the balances that they have, the interest rates that they are currently receiving. And the debt management plan will take all of those credit cards or unsecured debt and we combine it into one monthly payment for them. So we have preset arrangements with the credit card companies, so we know in advance what the interest rates will be reduced to for our clients who enroll in this program, what minimum payment they'll accept. Typically, creditors will accept a lower monthly payment, making it more manageable to pay off the individual debt. Typically, our clients pay off their debt management plans within 3 to 5 years.
Oh, that's great. So there's an end in sight.
There is an end in sight. And they're paying off the balances that they owe, where they're not taking a settlement offer, which a debt settlement is where you would pay less than the amount owed on the debt. Through our debt management plan, our clients do repay the entire full balance that they owe, just at a more manageable interest rate and a lower monthly payment.
Got it. So it's not taxable to them because
it's not taxable.
Because debt relief creates a taxable income. Right?
That's a good point. Yes. So debt settlements could have impacts on their taxes. The IRS does see that as possible earned income for the amount that they didn't pay on the debt. They may end up paying it back or paying the IRS at tax time.
Yes. Right. Okay. That's great. So it makes people feel good about being able to pay back what they ended up owing. So when consumers come for your services, what's typically the reason why they end up with a lot of debt? How do they come to that?
Yeah, we see a lot of different reasons. It could be loss of a job in the household, unexpected medical expense that really impacted their everyday, their budget. It could be a divorce or a separation, similar to loss of income in the household. So there's a variety of reasons, but we do see overspending too, relying on credit cards to supplement income. If you don't have enough money coming in through your paycheck, some people use their credit cards to supplement that amount and pay their groceries, their gas, their other expenses that they may be paying in the household.
Sure, or sometimes just not paying attention to what they're spending because it's easy to use the credit card.
Yeah,
could be. So that's great. But yeah, lots of reasons. Usually a change in status makes it difficult to manage. So
Very
I'm
tough.
glad that your service is available. What is the difference then between does your organization help with debt settlement at all, or is that not something that your organization helps?
Well, we do look at everyone's situation differently based on their income, their living expenses, and the debts that they may have. There may be options where it may be in their best choice to go through a settlement, which they can certainly negotiate with the creditors directly on their own. If they have collection accounts that maybe are smaller imbalances. So really each individual situation is different, and that's why the certified credit counselors are helpful in that regard, because they'll take a look at that person's situation one-on-one with them.
So it's really a personalized approach
Very
depending on
much
their
so.
situation, like looking
Yeah.
at the big picture to say based on your income flow and expenses beyond
Yes.
the credit card payments and arrangements that are made. So,
Yes.
but then the counselors know best what kind of negotiations can be made
Yes.
in helping them out. That's great. And so who are the individuals that can benefit the most from the services that are offered from your organization?
Well, we don't have any limitations. Anybody can come and see us, whether it's in person or over the phone or by video. The counseling sessions are free. We offer a variety of services from budgeting, if you want to take a look and create a budget for the first time, or get a better understanding of what expenses you have going out every month, to the debt management plan that I mentioned earlier, to credit report reviews. If you want to have a better understanding of your credit report, know what's on your credit report, how to improve your credit report, that's another service that we have. So anyone who would be interested in learning about their finances, really those are the people that qualify. So it's really the knowledge that we're serving and providing to clients to see us. But in terms of the debt management plan, we really try to encourage clients to see us before they start to fall behind on their payments.
Yes.
That's not always the case. We sometimes react when we can't make monthly payments and now we're struggling and I don't know what to do, so who can I go to for help? We see a lot of that. So just knowing who to reach out to have that free counseling session, to go through the different options and the choices is what I would recommend.
That's great. That's great. So somebody's having trouble or just want to have that basic knowledge or some knowledge in terms of budgeting and that kind of thing. And is there a phone number that they can call?
Yes. So our local phone number is 585-546-3440.
Okay, we'll put that on the screen as well. So that's great for people to know. So tell me about funding. This is free service. Like, how do you guys manage to run your operation when it's free for the consumer?
It is. So it is. We are a nonprofit organization, and we survive off of donations, many grants that we're applying to, whether it's local grants or national grants. Creditors do support consumer credit counseling as well. They see a certain percentage of our clients repaying the debts that they have through our debt management plan, where otherwise they maybe have chosen bankruptcy as an alternative. So creditors do contribute and donate to our organization as well.
So really, because good health for the consumer is good debt management and also healthy for the lenders, right?
Yes.
So it's all good. It's good in the long run. So if everybody can be using the credit wisely, it's good for everybody else, right? Okay. So what is the process for your organization to take on a client? How does that happen? Is it just a matter of picking up the phone and calling?
It could be. So they can call our local phone number, a toll-free number, but they can also go on our website and schedule a 15-minute intake session. And basically what that is, it's scheduling a 15-minute time frame to talk with one of our representatives who will explain the services, really look at what service that they would benefit from, and then scheduling them a 45-minute to an hour counseling session with one of our certified credit counselors. And then once the counseling session, again, it's 45 minutes to an hour, the counselor would go through their income, their living expenses, and then take a look at their debts that they owe. So they may pull their credit report with their permission, or look at creditor statements that they maybe have brought into their appointment. And based on that information, go through different options, present different options and suggestions to the client to go through and review as an alternative to getting out of debt.
Got it. So someone who's actually preparing to make a big purchase, such as a house or a car, and they're not sure about their credit report, it's a good time to call.
It's a good time to call because it does take time to build your credit score to a point where you would really want to take advantage of those good interest rates. So unfortunately, you can decrease your credit score very quickly by just missing 1 or 2 monthly payments, but to build it does take a number of months or even years, depending on the individual situation of where their credit stands today.
I see. So easy to mess it up, but a lot longer to make it better.
Correct.
But
yes.
then the points that your counselors at Consumer Credit Counseling can give make it more efficient for the borrower.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. That's wonderful. So what about the hard deal of bankruptcy? What do you offer with that? I mean, that's a tough thing. I mean, someone just can't go and say, I want to declare bankruptcy. You probably help them kind of, this is necessary, right?
Right. So we do look at the debt management plan as an alternative to bankruptcy. But for individuals where that may be the only option, we would recommend talking to an attorney before they pursue filing bankruptcy. Once they do decide that that is their only and best option, there's a couple new steps that were established a number of years ago, where somebody who's filing for bankruptcy, they do need to complete a financial education course before they file, and then again after they file. So we do provide those courses on our website, where it's a self-led course where they review a number of different questions and financial analysis, where they would then receive a certificate at the end of the course. Our certified counselors will then discuss options with the client in hopes to avoid bankruptcy, but for some people that's not an option.
Sure.
And then the certificate would be issued, which they would present to their attorney.
Got it. Yeah, because I had read that people file for bankruptcy tend to repeat unless they have an education.
It does happen from time to time, but that's what reviewing the debt management plan and really going through a budget to educate them to prevent that future filing.
Yeah, it's not exactly the right direction because it has negative implications in the future.
It does,
right?
yeah.
Right. That sounds good. So we'll take a little bit of a break, but we're talking about giving good financial health, and we have Karen Rondo, who is the Director of Counseling Operations at Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Rochester. We'll be right back. I'm Nanette Nokan. It's about money.
Make-A-Wish grants a wish every 17 minutes. I know that sounds pretty magical, but in fact, it takes more than magic. It takes muscle. So, when a kid like Fabian wishes to be a superstar, things happen. Whoa! Or when Kahim transforms into Super Kahim. He feels invincible. It's because wishes have proven physical and emotional benefits that can give children with critical illnesses a higher chance of survival.
Help us make sure every wish comes true. Join us at wish.org.
And we're back. I'm Nanette Nokan. It's about money. My guest is Karen Rondo, and she's the Director of Counseling Operations at Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Rochester. Thanks again, Karen, for being here with me.
Thank you for
today.
having me.
It's a pleasure. So let's talk about the different financial education workshops and classes. Tell us about what's being offered at CCCS.
We offer so many different varieties of topics of education, from home ownership to saving for long term to budgeting 101, how to buy a car. And we offer these online. They're virtual, but we also provide in-person education as well. So if there's an employer or a community organization that would love to have one of our outreach education specialists come in and present, we're always willing and able to provide that education, because we think it's very important to have just the knowledge of somebody's considering a large purchase, or they're just looking to budget from their day-to-day. Where do they start? And it's a really good opportunity for our community members.
So the classes on virtual, are they like what someone could sign up and then take it individually, or they scheduled so that you would sign up for a certain time depending on the topic?
So the virtual sessions or the education presentations are at a certain date and time. So you would sign up. We have a calendar on our website with a variety of topics that we offer every month. So you would sign up for that particular course that you're interested in, and then you would just log in at that specific time. It's a live, interactive presentation. Questions are always being asked, and we encourage it.
That's great. That's great. It seems as though every high school graduate and college graduate should go through this. I mean, one of the biggest expenses is either car payment as well as the rent, right? That
Yes.
people have to make. And with many people staying at home until they're 26 these days, because that's when parents cover the medical expense, and then they usually are being covered by parents' expenses as well. It's good to kind of send them off with some sort of basic knowledge first,
is.
right? A good foundation. So tell me about the history of the organization. It's been in Rochester.
Oh, goodness. So we are going on our 53rd year.
Oh, my goodness.
So we've been in the community for some time now. We have really evolved over the last, I'd say, 5 years or so. Through the last 3, we've expanded our offices to various states. We have 4 offices now, not only in Rochester, New York, but Chattanooga, Tennessee. We also have one in Waterloo, Iowa, and then outside of Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota. So we have counselors and representatives covering those communities as well. But specifically for Rochester, we've really expanded the services that we've been able to provide. We have within the last 5 years, we partner with the city through the Financial Empowerment Center, where we have a group of counselors able to provide one-on-one free financial counseling with the focus of ongoing sessions. So individuals who really want and need that coach, who needs that accountability, they can come and talk to the counselor once a week, once a month, every 6 months. They have that individual connection so that they can work on their personal finances and the goals that they have. We also have our program called Goal for Gold, which is really for our younger audience, our teenagers, ages 11 to 18. And there is an incentive for that where we partner with communities and schools where the kids go through an education piece for finance, but then they're also taught how to present to their peers. And for each presentation that they give to their peers, and it's signed off by a teacher or a coach, they receive a $50 for every presentation, financial presentation that they give. So there's incentive there as well. Not only educating their peers, but they also get a little benefit for themselves and encouraging savings as well.
Oh, that's great.
So there's a variety of services that we offer that we've expanded on within the last few years.
I love that second part. I always say that the teacher always learns more than the student. So if someone to really own the concepts of it, to be able to teach it and get paid for it,
Yeah.
it's a nice
Yeah.
thing. Well, I think I will tell a lot of young people about that. Take your course and then teach it to others
Yeah.
and promote it. Very nice. I love that very much. So it sounds like, and then the plans for the future. I mean, that I didn't realize that CCCS is in a lot of different locations that outside of Rochester.
We are.
It's grown. Oh,
Yes.
that's interesting. Curious how the other locations got chosen, because that's maybe the board, or how did?
Well, they were part of an acquisition, a merger. They were other consumer credit counseling agencies who were struggling, and we had very similar missions and community focus. So it made sense to merge as a community for these other offices.
I see. Well, that's nice, especially with the virtual environment today. You can manage teams in that way. Very nice. Oh, that's great. Why not, right? Especially with the shortage of labor today, you might as well team up with other organizations when you could do that. So tell me, from a consumer perspective, what would you say is the importance of focusing on financial health? Why is that so important? I mean, it seems to us it's obvious, but I'd like to share that with our viewers.
Yeah, so financial health is very important because credit impacts everything these days, from renting an apartment to buying your first car or a new car or buying a home. to insurance, to a cell phone. And knowing what your monthly budget is and how much you can afford when looking at a new purchase, I think that's very important as a foundation. The budget is a foundation when considering those. I think with moving out and the younger population, getting your first apartment, it's easy to overpurchase or to buy a car that might not be within your price range or the affordability. And unfortunately, the negative impact would be a car repossession, and that can impact you for long term. And we want to set people up for success when they're starting out for the first time, whether it's a new job or a new apartment. And I mean, their finances really impacts everything, their day to day. And it's very stressful too, finances, when something is not going right or not going well or in the direction that you want it to be. It can have a negative impact, whether it's a mental, an emotional, a physical. Sometimes people, when they're stressed, you have a physical reaction, and finances is a big stressor on a family or an individual.
Sure. Yeah, and I think financial health gives more options, right? If it's in good order, you have more choices. When
Very
it's
true.
Very stressed,
Very true.
then your options are limited, makes it more difficult.
Right. And having good credit, it saves you money. If you don't have good credit, if your credit score is not the best, you're going to end up paying more money for that car. Your interest rate may be 17, 18%, and that percentage, it equates to dollars, to money. So you're paying more to have that car versus somebody who might have good credit. Maybe the interest rate is 4 or 5%, and they're paying less. They're paying less in terms of dollars on a monthly rate.
Got it. So really good to, people pay attention to how much money they make, and how much per hour or salary or bi-weekly, weekly, annual. But then they don't pay attention sometimes to how the money goes out. But that's equally important, right? So there's the income coming in, but if the going out part is a little higher, got to control that to make sure that it's within the formula is just right.
Right.
Because from the slice of that, you've got to save for the future.
You do.
Right?
Very
to have
true.
options
Yeah.
about what you want to do in the future. So that's great. How many clients usually go through the credit counseling? How many?
Well, every year we've been seeing an increase, but over the last year, 2022, we've seen over 6,300 individuals that we've counseled financially. So the need is certainly there. And just looking at the benefits, we're seeing more individuals coming to us with higher interest rates. On average, we see interest rates of about 22% on their credit cards. When someone chooses to enroll in our debt management plan, the interest rate on average reduces down to about 6%. So again, equating that interest rate to dollars, so they're paying less on the interest rate, more is going to the actual balance and being able to pay down that debt versus where they were prior to coming to consumer credit counseling.
So it really makes sense to come to you to help the organization so that they can get a little relief. Otherwise, it just seems like it's never going to end. Like the
Very
payments
true.
they're making is just towards the interest, so there's
Right.
never ending.
Yeah, a lot of people, when they're making the monthly payment, it might just be reducing that principal balance, the balance. It could just be going towards the interest that they're paying, and that's how we get into that pattern of the balance not going down. They feel like their wheels are just spinning because the payments that are making, they're not seeing those balances reduce each month unless they send in a significant monthly payment, and a lot of people can't afford that. We see more everyday living expenses, groceries, gas prices. Now we're back to commuting to work now that a lot of the population was in the hybrid or maybe the virtual setting when they were working. So there's some expenses that have increased that's really tightening up somebody's financial budget.
Right. Yeah, you're right. So there was some savings from having the working remotely, but then now back to the normal pattern of spending. So what is the typical outcome? Like after someone goes through the program, is there a typical response that you get from a client or someone who goes through the program?
So typical, they're very happy. They're extremely satisfied. It's all their hard work, though. Honestly, they put in the effort, they put the focus and determination, having to make that monthly payment on time every month, so they can see that balance go down in 3 to 5 years, however long it takes them. But then also looking at their credit score, on average, our clients see their credit score increase about 70 points from the time that they enrolled to the time they completed it. Obviously, that could be impacted by missed monthly payments, just as you would if you were not on a monthly payment. Your credit score could be impacted by a missed monthly payment.
Sure.
But generally speaking, clients are very satisfied with their credit score in particular, but then also coupled with not having the amount of debt that they started with as well.
No, that's great. So it's an immediate response to the action that they take.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. And do you get referrals? How do people?
Always, yeah. Our biggest referrals usually just online. People search for us and they find us locally, but also word of mouth, family and friends. Sometimes we see that it's difficult to talk about your finances, especially when you're struggling.
Sure.
And sometimes you get to the point where you might not have any options and you're forced to have that conversation with a loved one or a friend of yours, and then they refer you to consumer credit counseling. So we do have those clients who praise us, who will scream our names from the rooftops, who will absolutely talk about us and their experience with us. But then we have people who are more shy and want to keep their experience with us a little bit more reserved, which we understand. All of our financial counseling sessions are confidential. We uphold the confidentiality of our clients and want to respect the situation that they're going through.
Yeah, right. So, it's interesting with the name of the organization because it's credit counseling, but you do a lot more.
We do
than
a lot
credit.
more.
Yeah, I wonder. So, is it generally like RCI? They don't call it RCA. I'm sorry, they don't call it Radio Corporation of America, but more RCA. Maybe remove the credit.
Yeah.
It's just people like, oh, credit. You know?
Yeah.
But it's really far more than that.
We do a lot more. We do housing counseling, which includes foreclosure prevention. Maybe somebody is starting to fall behind on their mortgage payment, or rental counseling if they're looking to rent for the first time, but more so individuals who may be struggling with their rental payments to prevent eviction. We do counseling in that regard as well. So reverse mortgages, I know that's a topic as well that we've come across from time to time. So a variety of services based on individual situation, first-time home buyer education, all part of the financial education and wellness is what we focus on.
Oh, that's great. I think I'll mention to a few interns. I have interns in the summer as a financial service organization. I think I'll mention to them to sign up and learn about it, and maybe they could teach other people.
Yeah.
It's part of the learning process, something different,
Yeah.
but then it's also very educational.
Yeah,
so.
we encourage our employees, the staff members, to go through a counseling session to experience what our clients would go through. But also it learns about their personal finances and how they can improve it, areas that they can look towards kind of tweaking, and then talking about their goals for the future.
That's wonderful. That's great. I love that because otherwise they don't have an appreciation of what it's like to be on the other side of the desk.
Very
right?
true.
So great idea. So great. It's been delightful talking with you, Karen, about what Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Rochester does, and delightful to hear the expansion over the years and all the good work that you guys do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And thank you, our viewers, for joining us today. I'm Nanette Nocon. It's about money. Until next time, I do appreciate you joining us. So, and all the best to you, Karen.
Thank you, Nana. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Until next time.